So it's graduation season. Unless you're a 2019 Morehouse grad, most of you guys are really anxious right now to start finding your first jobs because you know student loan payments are coming and you have a lot of other responsibilities to take care of in the next couple of months. So a lot of us are very tempted to just kind of take the first job offer that comes our way because we're just, so happy to even just have a job. And for those of us who are blessed enough to have multiple job offers after graduation, we kind of just look at the base salary a lot of times and don't even think about all of the other factors that go into having a successful job experience. So in this video, we're going to be sharing with you 7 things that we think you should think about when evaluating a job offer outside of your base salary. Hey Wealth Builders, it's Akiva.
And Mishak.
And welcome back to another episode of The Bemuse, where we are making sense of all things money for young adults just like us.
And this is a continuation off of our Life After Graduation series, which you can actually take a look at. We'll also include the link to that playlist in the description box below.
And in the cards right above here.
So the first category is bonus potential. You want to look at websites like Glassdoor to see if bonus trends have been reported on that website or if it's been explicitly stated in your conversations in your interview or possibly maybe even in your hire letter that that's something that might be, available to you further down the road. You want to make sure that you convey those concerns and ask those questions before you say yes to that job offer.
So, for example, in our jobs, at my job, when I was going through the hiring process, I looked on Glassdoor and those kinds of websites and saw that a couple of people had reported getting bonuses and listed their bonus amount. And so I kind of got the idea that, there was some type of bonus potential down the road for my position. And so far, as you guys know, I have been getting bonuses from my job every year. And so that has also been, a big factor in just total compensation.
Mm-hmm. I did not search on Glassdoor or any websites like that to find out because I honestly kind of already had an idea of where I was working that was just not something that was typically done. Me being there, I do see that it is done, but maybe not in all positions. So that's something that I'm aware of and I was going into and I knew, so it wasn't really a big issue for me.
So another thing to keep in mind is that it's not just about how much you make, salary and bonus, but it's about how much you keep. So a very important consideration is taxes. So if you are looking at positions across state lines, just remembering that the same salary in one state doesn't necessarily equate to the same salary in another state after taxes. For example, if you are going to be looking for a job in Florida, Florida is a no income tax state. So naturally, a job in Florida that has the same compensation as a job in Massachusetts, for example, you'll be keeping more in your pocket with that job in Florida than Massachusetts because there's no state income tax. So taxes are definitely an important consideration when evaluating 2 job offers that may have similar compensation.
So the next topic is location. We know that this is a huge factor when deciding where to work and how much to accept for your payment. So for example, living in New York with a salary of X is going to give you a different standard of living as living just a state over in New Jersey because of the cost of living, transportation costs, all sorts of different things like that, gas, all sorts of things like that. You also have to think about where do you plan on living? Do you plan on purchasing a home? Do you plan on renting? Do you plan on living at home with parents for that first couple of years when you accept this first job offer? Something else to consider is how long your commute is going to be based on where you choose to live. Some individuals might choose to live on the outskirts of town to save on that cost of living, whether it be any of those options that I listed before. And that means that there is going to be an additional cost of commuting. Are you going to have to take a train a little bit further out? Is that going to cost more money for you to take that train? Is it going to cost more money for you to drive and gas? And so you have to think about the whole picture. You want to make sure that you research how much it costs to live in these areas before you say yes to that job offer. Like we just stated before, the cost of the standard of living in New York for everything, and this is from cost to eat. Things are just more expensive in certain larger cities than in rural and suburban areas.
Yeah, just even thinking about our jobs. My salary in Massachusetts, which is a very high cost of living state, will definitely go a longer way down in Maryland, where Mishak, works and lives. So just an example, just thinking about those things. And if you want to get a sense of what cost of living is like in different areas, there are, lots of different cost of living calculators online where if you plug in a salary of X, it can tell you, in different states how far that'll get you in terms of, just cost of living costs, housing, things, etc. So you kind of know how much you're able to, like I said, it's about how much you keep, not necessarily how much you earn all the time. So that's an important consideration. You can also do your research on sites like apartments.com, for example, just to get a sense of like what housing costs, because housing is definitely, the biggest part of most people's budgets. And so just doing your research before you accept the job offer will go a long way.
And it's also a very personal decision. Some people, like I mentioned before, are quite fine with living at home with parents if they have especially a short-term or a long-term goal in mind, such as they're saving for a major life event that might be happening, a wedding, the birth of a child. They are, different things. They're trying to aggressively pay off debt. Whatever the reason might be, you have to make sure that it works for you. Even if you choose to room with some friends, have a roommate type situation, whatever your living situation that you choose, make sure that it works and that it's going to work long term for you. Not where you're pulling your hair out 2 months after living in that situation. It's like, well, why did I choose this? Because moving can be very expensive. So if it doesn't work out, you don't want to be 6 months in or, a year after your lease is up where you're spending another $400 or $500 to move all your stuff to another location that you might have to move from in another year. You got to think about things long term.
Right, and as you guys know full well, because you've documented this on this channel, you guys saw where I was living when I originally moved to Massachusetts and started my first job outside of college. So if you missed that video, I will put a link up in the cards. Had a little apartment tour / how much I was paying for where I was living and just the circumstances around my housing. So if you want to learn more about that and the choices that I decided to make, the link will be up there. The next thing you want to think about is also very important, and that is benefits. Benefits are huge. Definitely as college grads coming out of school, you might be looking into things like continuing your education, getting your master's degree, starting to save for retirement, knowing that if your employer matches your contributions, those types of things are really important to people our age. And those are some things that you want to definitely keep in mind when evaluating your job offer. There are also other benefits that are really important to have, like life insurance, health insurance opportunities as we get older and we age out of our parents' health insurance plans. It's definitely something that you're going to want to have as an option for you. Another important benefit is vacation and other types of paid time off. You want to be able to, those of you who work-life balance is important for you, you just want to make sure that you're having enough time off to, relax and recharge and spend time away from work. So those are definitely very important considerations.
And you might not realize how important benefits are, but I can speak from experience and seeing people every day because I actually deal with payroll and benefits, and it is very, very important. So you want to, before you say yes to that job offer, ask whoever's dealing with benefits to send you your a benefits summary of some sort to find out what they offer, how much it costs, and really determine if it even works for you. If you're under 26 like I am, you might be able to still stay on your parents' health insurance, where that might save you a little bit of money, even if you choose to say, well, hey, mom and dad, here's X to help you out each month. That might be cheaper than you going with your job's health insurance package that might cost you more monthly. And then based on the deductibles and other things like that the plan might have, it might take a really big chunk out of what you have coming in each month. So you want to be careful with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mishak and I were just talking the other day comparing the cost of our health insurance plans at work. And my health insurance plan at work is significantly more expensive than Mishak's plan. So even though, Mishak might have like a lower salary working at a nonprofit, their benefits
are way better.
Are so much better in terms of even retirement benefits. They get like what a ridiculous percentage put into their 403B plans.
We get 5% that is contributed regardless of if we do nothing, and then our employer will also match an additional 3%. So right there, like me personally, my job is giving 5% regardless of what I do. I'm contributing another 5%, and then they're matching the 5% that I'm putting another 3%. So I'm contributing 13% right now, essentially.
Which is crazy. My job only does, half of what you put in up to 6%. So a total of 9% of my salary is going in. So those are just little nuances to keep in mind.
And something else to pay attention to with benefits is some jobs might offer some sort of incentive for you to to further your education, your master's, a certificate program, whatever. And you want to make sure that you ask questions and read the fine print. Because if you don't stay for a certain period of time, you are obligated most times to repay those funds to your employer. So you want to make sure that you are making an informed decision. If you know that you're graduating from undergrad and you want to further your education and you want help paying for it, like most of us do, go for it. Get the help, but make sure that you
know the rules.
I know the rules, so if I have to stay here for 5 years, if that's their policy, then I'm okay with staying there for that period of time. If they're not going to give me a bonus, if the benefits aren't great, if whatever, if the goal is for you to, like I said in this case, get some sort of assistance for tuition, and you're okay with sacrificing some of those other areas, then do it. Just make an informed decision.
Right, and that was really important for me when looking for a job, because as you guys know, after I went to grad school, which my company did not help me with grad school, because you had to work there for a year before you even eligible for tuition assistance, but they did help me with a couple of certifications that I've completed. And so those things, just knowing what is covered, what is not covered based on your individual career goals, is really important.
And also something else that we didn't mention before, with 403B or 401k plans, you also want to know what those rules are. Some companies have vesting periods. So if you don't work with them for X amount of years, what you have contributed, usually you can keep. But what they have matched or contributed on your behalf towards your retirement plan, if you're not there for X amount of years, they take those funds back. Fortunately for me, my company, there is no vesting period. If I go and I work for a year, or if I work for, 6 months, whatever they have contributed on my behalf, they allow for you to keep.
Right, and my job is different. With our 401k plan, we do have a vesting schedule. There's a certain percentage that I think is vested after year 1, and then you get 100% vested after year 3. So, I don't remember the inside, because I just know that at year 3, it's 100% vested for my plan, for example. But then also, just something I just thought about was when I was starting my job, I was not 21 yet. Usually with a lot of employer-sponsored 401k plans, they don't even let you participate until you're 21. And I was 19 when I started. Or was I 20? I was 20. I was 20 when I started. But fortunately, one of the questions I did ask is that, will they still let me participate in the 401k plan? Because I wouldn't have been 21 for another almost year. And they did. And so that's also something really important, so that I was able to contribute and they were able to match, my funds before I was 21. So the important thing is to know which benefits are important to you, and making sure that you know the rules and opportunities around those for the different job offers that you receive.
So the next subject area is company culture.
It's big.
This is a big one. And the company culture where I work personally is very scattered. There's not a lot of people, honestly, my age. I can count the amount of people who are 30 and under at my job on probably one hand, maybe two. And most of us, I know I can speak for myself, is we send emails back and forth. Picking up the phone is not our thing, but we work with some people who are a little bit older, in their 50s, 60s, and that's how they communicate. They prefer to pick up the phone. They prefer to come in and schedule an appointment to speak about something that could have been sent in an email. You have to be able to maneuver and navigate through those type of interactions with individuals. Something else is working from home policies. Is that something that your employer is okay with? After the interview might be over and you're requesting that benefits summary or whatever, ask those questions, because you really want to know. If you're the type of person where you want to work from home one day when you get up and you realize that you overslept a little bit, and the time that it takes for you to get ready to get to the office,
if you have a long commute,
you're going to be late. And you can just turn on a computer and work from home and be logged in at 9 o'clock or 8:30, whenever you have to start. That's going to be something that you want to ask and you want to make sure that you can do. If you are not able to do it, that might be a deciding factor for you. I know for me, it's not that huge of a deal, but for certain people, it might be.
Yeah, and for me, that's something that we can do regularly at our job. We don't even have to ask, permission to work from home, because our company, infrastructure is just set up that way. The company culture is that way, where we can work from pretty much anywhere. So I have the ability to work from home essentially whenever I want. Of course, you don't want to milk it, but or do it all the time. But I will work from home maybe 2 days a month. So that's, something that was important to me. So I had that flexibility. If I need to travel and see my family, I can, decide to leave on a Thursday and I'll work from home that Friday and things like that. And just enjoy a long weekend with my family. So things like that. So some other important questions you might want to think about when it comes to company culture is, like Mishak said, checking the demographics. Are there people that your age that work there? Are there people that look like you that work there? That could be really important to some people. Will you enjoy working with your coworkers? Are teams set up in a way that it fosters a collegial environment? Does your employer, foster innovation? Those types of things are important questions to ask yourself, and those things will really come across in the interview stages as you're going through. Some things will be innate in terms of infrastructure, but a lot of other things you really want to look out for that if you haven't already, just in your conversations with potential future coworkers.
Yeah. In personal experience, where I work, it's a small team of us in the human resource department, and it's actually just 3 of us, and we have some assistants that help as well. So it's a team of about 5 with the assistants currently, and I'm the youngest, and I'm actually the only male as well. If that might bother you, you might not know some of these details. It might be really weird for you to ask, well, what's the sex of the individual? You're not going to ask that. But it might be difficult and uncomfortable for some people to deal with.
So the next point is growth potential. And we've kind of hit on a couple of pieces of that along the way, but you just want to make sure that you aren't going to be stuck in the same role for the next 15 to 20 years of your life. And there's really nowhere for you to grow. And that's why it forces you to leave the company. So asking those questions, knowing if there is a set path for advancement, if that's what you're looking to do, is really important when you're evaluating a job offer.
Unless that is your plan, and because it's not all bad to do that. We're speaking about people who just graduated in this, in this graduation season.
Sometimes you don't even know what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of you out there have not done an internship, have not done an externship, anything. So you have no idea what you're stepping into. You have a degree in X, and you're just trying to get into a job that is at least closely related to what you went to school for. And you might get in there and decide that it's not for you. So that job that was an entry-level job that in my scenario is a small team, there isn't much places for you to move except for, up to that one position. If you decide that it's not for you, you spent a few months and you decided what you don't want to do. So at least you can go and maybe find out something that you do want to do, or working there might have, hey, well, I don't like this, but I did like this part of my job, and maybe there's a job out there where I'm just doing this, and that's what I like. And that leads us to our final topic, which is type of work.
So you might have 2 job offers, and one might be paying you $100,000, and one might be paying you $60,000. But that job that's paying you $100,000 might not even be the type of work that you are really excited about or passionate about. It might be in your field of work. It might be, related to your degree, but it's not your passion, and it's not really helping you, live out, what is your calling and your purpose. And I think that is very important, because you might be, a little wealthy, but you might not be happy, and that's going to really affect your quality of life, having to go to that job every day, doing something that you're really not passionate about.
Unless you're looking at that job as a short term.
Yeah, as a stepping stone, but you got to know that going into it.
But you also don't want to go someplace where you're unhappy, or where you become unhappy and you make enemies, because you really never know who you might need in life, and who knows who, and
who can give you a recommendation for your next step in life.
So you've got to keep all of that in mind.
So just keep in mind, which job will I just genuinely enjoy more? Which skills will I be able to utilize in each of these jobs that excite me? So whereas one might be more of an analytical role, one might be more of a sales role, a client-facing role, just weighing those things in your mind and knowing just which one is a better fit just for you personally. So what other things have you considered, or do you think are important considerations when evaluating a job offer? Leave any questions or comments, as usual, in the comments below, and we will get back to every single one of you.
We'll also put the links to all the websites that we mentioned down below, so you can check them out for yourself.
And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell by hitting that bell icon right over there, so that you never miss when we post new videos to help you guys, young adults just like us, make sense of life and money.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.